Night dropped early across Samaria, a heat-sick dusk that made the courtyards shine like bronze. In the prophet's house, the air smelled of dust and lamp oil. Gehazi kept the door, listening to the murmurs of men inside, voices like stones, low and certain. Before long, the guard from Aram would arrive with his letter and his pride and his impossible disease. Gehazi had heard the rumors for days. Naaman, the great captain of the Syrian host, favored by his king, brave in battle and ruined in body. It was said that a patch of death had climbed his skin the way ivy climbs a wall. It was said that a Hebrew servant girl had whispered a small hope. There is a prophet in Samaria. Naaman's procession scraped the street like a moving market. Mules sweated under the shine of gifts. 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, 10 changes of garments fine enough to make a prince blush. He carried also a letter for the king of Israel, as if kings could buy the favor of heaven the way they bought wheat. The king read it and tore his clothes in a panic. Am I God to kill and to make alive? Until Elisha sent word, let him come, that he may know there is a prophet in Israel. Naaman halted at the door. He expected holy theater, hands in the air, thunder in the voice, a ritual the size of his rank. Instead, a messenger came out with a simple insult of an instruction. Go, wash in the Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall be restored. The captain flushed hot. Are not Abana and Pharpar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? He wheeled his chariot to leave, pride dragging him like a chain. His servants, braver than they knew, stepped close and begged him to try the easy thing he would have done if it were hard. Naaman listened. Down at the river that had seen more sins than sacrifices, he dipped once, twice, 7 times, and the 7th was a new skin. He came up laughing like a boy. He returned to Elisha's door a different man, not the thunder of a conqueror, but the stunned politeness of the healed. Behold, I know that there is no God in all the earth but in Israel, he said, and offered the silver and the gold and the garments as if gratitude could be weighed. Elisha stood in the doorway like a piece of daylight and said no. As the Lord lives, before whom I stand, I will receive none. Naaman pressed. Elisha refused. The prophet would not trade a miracle for a market price. He would not have the story told with receipts. Naaman settled for a stranger request, 2 mule loads of Israel's soil to carry home, so that he might kneel on holy ground in a foreign court, and went away rejoicing. Gehazi watched him go with the eyes of a man who knows the cost of oil and flour, 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, 10 changes of garments, enough to build rooms on the house, to marry off a cousin, to feed the hungry who came to the door, and to feed Gehazi's own thoughts about what he was owed after years of keeping watch, running errands, waking before dawn to sweep dust the desert delivered overnight. My master has spared this Syrian in not receiving of his hands that which he brought, Gehazi muttered. As the Lord lives, I will run after him and take somewhat of him. He ran. The road east held the last color of day. Naaman saw the man sprinting and stepped down from the chariot, still light with the newness of skin that did not sting. Is all well? He asked. Gehazi bowed, breathless but smooth. All was well, he said. Only 2 young men of the sons of the prophets had just arrived from the hill country, unexpected, deserving. Could the great Lord spare a talent of silver and 2 changes of garments? It was a lie dressed in piety, obedient to the logic of charity and the arithmetic of greed. Naaman, softened by mercy, urged him to take 2 talents, not 1. Servants tied up the silver in 2 bags, with 2 festal garments folded like clouds, and laid them on Gehazi's shoulders. The weight felt righteous for 3 heartbeats. Then it felt like heat. He turned aside at the hill, slipped the bundles into the house, and came to stand in his old place by the door, breathing even, hands clean, face composed, as the courtyard went quiet for night. Elisha looked at him without looking. "Whence comest thou, Gehazi?" The servant smiled the smallest smile a man ever smiled. "Thy servant went no whither," he said. The prophet's voice dropped until each word felt carved. "Went not mine heart with thee, when the man turned again from his chariot to meet thee? Is it a time to receive money, and to receive garments, and to live yards and vineyards, and sheep and oxen, and men servants and maid servants?" The list fell like a ladder to vainglory. Today, silver pressed into the hand. Tomorrow, fields, power, a small kingdom built from a healed man's gratitude. "The leprosy, therefore, of Naaman shall cleave unto thee, and unto thy seed forever." Gehazi did not move until the last word stopped ringing. When he stepped back into the light of the doorway, his skin had the color of snow where no snow falls. Word of the curse bled outward like dye in water. The sons of the prophets whispered hard and then fell silent when Gehazi passed. Mothers pulled children closer from habit, then loosened their grip from shame. The disease did not kill him at once. It lived with him. He learned the map of shade in the courtyard. He wrapped his hands and discovered how quickly cloth learns the shape of pain. He watched dust drift in the long rays of afternoon, and counted the days not by feasts, but by how often the sores broke and closed. Some mornings he dreamed he was still running with silver that did not burn his shoulders. From Damascus came a rumor that Naaman had kept his promise. A square of Israel's earth sat in his courtyard. Maids swept it. The captain knelt there to pray, careful as you would be with a wound. When he went to the temple of Rimmon with his king, he bowed his body but not his allegiance, leaning on old habit while his heart stood elsewhere. He did not speak of payment, he spoke of mercy. It is a strange thing that two men can leave the same doorway in opposite directions, one with health and empty hands, one with treasure and a sickness white as truth, and both carry a sermon the world will remember longer than their names. He continued to live near holiness. He heard the prophet's voice in the courtyard and in his sleep. When strangers came to ask counsel, they looked past him. When they left, he gathered their forgotten sandals and set them in pairs at the gate. He had been dangerous in small ways, and now he tried to be useful in smaller ones. He learned that mending a jar is harder with bandaged hands. He learned that the sound of grain falling into grain is still beautiful, even when you cannot lift the sack. Sometimes he told the truth to himself in the only tense that would hold it. I wanted what was not mine. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to use a miracle as a lever. I wanted a future without the calluses that come from waiting. He did not dare to raise these confessions as prayer at first. He let them sit in the air and cool like bread you are afraid to eat. Later, when silence did not burn, he asked for mercy in a low voice. No dove descended, no voice thundered. But the ache that had been only punishment took on another shape, the pressure of being remade slowly by the same God he had tried to merchandise. The sores did not heal. Something else did. Elisha kept receiving kings and widows, commanders and farmers, signs scattered like seeds along the roads of Israel. When a Shunammite woman came searching for the prophet because death had entered her house, Gehazi ran ahead with Elisha's staff to lay it on the child's face. The staff was not enough. Neither often is haste. Yet the running mattered. Years later, a king would ask Gehazi to tell him, all the great things Elisha hath done. Memory served where touch could not. The man who had tried to take payment became a catalogue of gifts. Some lessons arrive with thunder. Others arrive as a rule learned in a doorway. The holy cannot be priced. Naaman would tell it in Damascus as a mercy none could purchase. Israel would keep it as a fence around the story, so that healings did not turn into trade. Gehazi learned it the slow way, by carrying a skin that preached where his voice could not. Every time a child asked why his hands were bandaged, he had to choose the short truth. I lied for silver, and it cost me more than silver. Thank you for listening to Divine Crime. Subscribe for more true stories from the most dangerous book ever written.